Hello, I'm Stacy. I'm a community play specialist. Part of my role is to help children through their healthcare journey, try and make things as positive as possible. So some of the things that I will do is I will visit children in their home and school that might be finding it quite difficult to go to hospital appointments. A typical play referral for myself would be either to help a child come into hospital who's finding it very difficult, to help them understand what's going to happen. So that means making social stories which are using lots of photos to explain a procedure. So it might be a blood test, it might be an x-ray, it might be going to surgery. It's looking at the equipment, giving the child that opportunity to explore that equipment in their safe environment before having to come into hospital.
And I'm Jamie, I'm a hospital play specialist, so we do a similar thing, but we do it within the hospital environment. So a typical referral for us would be to bring that patient and their families in to build up a rapport with them, do some general play sessions, work out, kind of pinpoint their anxieties and worries so that we can focus on them. Again, show them the real equipment, like things like cannulas, things like masks for whatever they come into hospital, because it could be for an MRI scan, it could be for a blood test, it could be just for a general appointment. And I think it's a very daunting environment. So again, creating that positive space, giving the child time to kind of reflect on what's going to happen, how that's going to happen and what that may look like, so that they can kind of have a voice within their care journey. Because I think sometimes there's a lot of professionals that come in and tell them what's got to happen, but actually they don't get time or space to work out what that's going to look like, how they're going to cope with that, and to just put some coping techniques in prior to them coming to make it all a little bit easier and not so stressful on the actual admission.
Having that time to digest that information, isn't it, before it's happening to them.
And also I think with pinpointing the worries and anxieties that parents may have and patients, it gives us time to properly prepare. You know, as Stacey said, with things like social stories, that takes time to create, because you have to look at what, you know, individual needs of that specific patient, where they're going, get photos of the right areas, get in touch with other professionals to make it all run smoothly. Maybe, you know, in hospital we put together hospital play passports, so we kind of write a procedure plan for what they're going to have, step-by-step plan of what happens on the day that the child is comfortable with, the parent's comfortable with, work out their likes and dislikes, and then that will follow them through to all the different, you know, places in the trust and different wards, and also out into the community. Then if they are coming out into the community, they've got that, so that it's a continuity of care between, you know, all professionals. Again, bringing in that MDT, I think if you're all on the same page, it makes a much smoother admission for everybody.
I think we're focusing a lot here on the child, but we're there to support the family, aren't we? So the siblings, it's a big thing for the siblings too, so we can include them, and the parents as well. A lot of the time the parents will have these worries, their own worries, so it's just sort of giving them the confidence to say, actually, okay, I understand that, but now I'm not as nervous as I was before.
And I think one of the main things that we do in our role is advocacy for, you know, for that parent, for the patient, for the siblings, just to have a bit of backing when you are speaking to, you know, the professionals, because it can be quite daunting. And I think come prepared, come with a little list of questions that you may have, because on the day, if it all gets a little bit, you know, tricky and a bit stressful, you do forget those questions, and I think you're so worried about
them there.
They're written. And bring in familiar things, their favourite pyjamas, their favourite book, their favourite teddy, the iPad if that's what they use, you know, their favourite toy, little backpack sometimes they come in with, so that they, even if it's just for a general clinic appointment, sometimes, you know, there can be waits in a hospital situation to be prepared with things, you know, snacks, drinks, whatever it is that they want. Actually, it just makes it more calming if you've got those resources.
And you've got all that information beforehand, you know what's coming, don't you?
You're just a little bit more prepared.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think that's what these videos are for, to give you some kind of pre-knowledge before you come in, because obviously some will come in planned admission, some will come through A&E, and you don't always have that time, but hopefully these videos will help you and give you a bit of an understanding as to what you can access. Not every hospital is going to have play services, not every community, you know, is going to have community play specialists, but if you have an understanding of what's out there, then it just gives you that push to be able to ask and feel comfortable with asking what services are available for you and your child.
And have the confidence to ask as well. A lot of people go, oh, you know, we've been sent this letter, we've got to be here and we've got to do this at this time, but actually you know your child better than anyone.
Yeah.
Okay. If your child's asking you questions, you ring ahead and you find out the answers. If you don't know, if they're asking you questions, and just say to them, I don't know the answer to this, let me call ahead, let me try and find out, let me find a play specialist that can help. There's loads of resources as well online, depending on what your child's coming into hospital for as well.
Yeah.